This episode of Badass Agents Podcast is brought to you by Jason Smith team at Nova Home Loans. Jason, a Navy veteran, has been recognized as one of the top 100 loan originators in the country. There is no task too big or too small for the Jason Smith team. Every client counts. For the best rates and great service, contact Jason at 480-227-6231 or visit novahomeloans.com. I personally stand by his service, and so do thousands of satisfied clients. That's Jason Smith at Nova Home Loans, NMLS number 210839. But we say, I'll figure it out because I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. I'm going further and further down this slope that it's a lot of darkness down here. And I'm waking up most days just aching and regretting the day. I'm hurting. I'm too anxious. I'm too depressed. I hate this feeling. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Araujo, and I actually need a favor from all of you. If you gain any type of just knowledge, any type of motivation, inspiration, if you get something of value out of this that you apply to your life, I need you to start sharing this podcast. I think more people need to be able to hear this, to get them in alignment, right, with the things that they want. And sometimes it's just simple reminders. For me, I don't need someone to figure it out for me. I just need simple reminders of the things I already know. I have a wealth of knowledge. I have a wealth of experience. It's just I forget sometimes, right? We all forget. And I think that's what makes this environment here with AZ and Associates, here with Do the Work, so valuable, is that we just need to be reminded of how great we are and how to be able to maintain, right? How to be able to maintain this action and this positivity within ourselves to keep going. Because there's so many things out there that try to knock us off our game that all we need is to be reminded. Hey, remember what you want to go after. Hey, remember what your targets were. Hey, remember the life that you've always imagined. It's all possible. So if that is the case, if you come onto this and on Mindset Mastery, of course, it is available on Badass Agents Podcast. Please share it with somebody. There's someone within your family, friends, maybe colleagues that need to hear this, and it'll get them on that path. And that makes you, right, a leader as well, because now you have more people in alignment with what the things that you want. And again, it all comes down to those things, is surrounding ourselves with those that want the same things that we want. And I think that's why we're so successful, and why this brokerage has grown so much, and why Do the Work has grown so much, is because, we like to breathe light into each other's journey. And today, it was just a great reminder. I got a phone call as I was getting ready this morning, and I got it from one of our agents. I actually got two messages back to back, which is, I love it. One was a message. The other one was a phone call. And as soon as I picked up, I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he says, thank you. Thank you. Nothing more. And he said, you keep going, okay? You keep going. And I can tell the emotion and the appreciation in his tone of voice. I knew that he was feeling so good, so appreciative, so grateful because of the work he was able to do and the investments he made. And I have this thing of constantly saying sacrifices, but it's not. It's an investment. And I was reminded of that listening to this other podcast earlier this morning. And he said, it's not a sacrifice. It's an investment in your future. And as I look and I start appreciating what I've built and where I'm going, as I look in the mirror and I see this, my physique changing, and as I look at my business and my accounts, and I'm like, it's morphing into something I've never seen before. And I look at the relationship I have with my daughter. I just traveled with her to Denver, and she's hugging up on me, and she loves having dad at every game, right? And I'm just praying, and I'm looking, and I'm like so grateful that I was able to sacrifice, quote unquote, right? Which was to invest in myself day in and day out with the simple process and a simple philosophy of just doing the work and making those small deposits each and every day where there was no instant payoff. But I had a steadfast approach of continuing to lean in, to move forward, to have faith that these small deposits, these meaningless deposits, would morph into something greater. And I didn't even know what that looked like. I thought I did. I had no idea. The way I feel right now could be a possibility. I only dreamt of it. And when I dreamt of it, I didn't realize the magnitude of it. And I kept pressing, and I continue to press to this day. I'm not settling. But it's these individuals that breathe light into my journey that allow me to appreciate a simple phone call that he simply said, thank you. I felt it in my soul. Because he rose up in a king within his kingdom. And his queen has risen. And his kids are seen. And they're witnessing. And it's a domino effect of how they start raising their kids and the impact they're going to have on their kids. All because we buy into this philosophy, right? And have this faith that if we do the right things, the right outcomes will always come. And I get this. And sometimes we want to rush the process. Sometimes we want to get the results that we're seeing others get. But what we're failing to see was the years of sacrifice. What you're failing to see was the many years, and I should say investment, right? But we misinterpret it as sacrifice. At least I did for a while. And I still use that word constantly. But it's a doubt. It's not seeing the outcomes and then having the courage to continue to move forward when there's nothing to show for it. Being able to say, there's this voice that's calling. I just got to have the faith. If these individuals are doing it, believing that it can happen for you. And it may not happen the first year. It may not happen the second year. I didn't start realizing the massive results until 5-6 years later. 2017, guys, I want to put things into perspective. 2017, I was barely, recovering from the damage that I did to my credit back in 2012, 2013. I couldn't buy anything. Now there's this pride every time I get this alert where I'm in an excellent position, where a simple signature can get me millions of dollars at a moment's notice. But I couldn't see that back then because I was too involved on feeling sorry for myself or beating myself up for the things that I did or didn't do with my finances, as opposed to looking to the present, what can I do now? And realizing that the future is bright if I just invest. Invest in myself. And we tend to say things, and that's why I want to talk about this. Breathing light into our journey. It's so important. We know what words we're feeding into our brains, what phrases, who we allow to breathe into our life. I love the fact that I got this text message as well. Got a text message from one of our agents as well. I'm not going to read it verbatim. But he says, at 42-year-olds, man, that looks like you. Show me another 42-year-old man that looks like you. It's expanding still after crushing so many goals already, after building a marriage on fire by rising up as a king that you are. A good example. So any type of doubt, any type of challenge that comes my way, I'm like leaning on these guys that rose up themselves. And as we're doing this Do the Work challenge, I'm seeing so many individuals rising up and realizing all the ills of their ways. How they've been sleeping, how they've been allowing people to influence what they want in life. How much out of alignment they've been all these years. No wonder they don't have what they want. They've been out of alignment. They say one thing, but it's a completely different thing when it comes to taking the action. I want to be healthy. I'm not happy with the way I look. As they're shoving ice cream down their throats. Now they see it. Their perspective has been changed. Because they came into an environment that allowed them to see the truth. And I've seen this time and time again. Individuals that find their truth, that find their strength. And then they're like, well, I got to go somewhere else, AZ. I learned what I could. only to watch them flounder thereafter. Why? Because they stopped believing in themselves and they thought that somebody else can figure it out for them. And that's always been the foundation of what I bid here. It's never been a promise that I'm going to figure it out for you. It's never been a promise that I'm going to show you everything you need to learn about your business. It's never been some false statement that I was going to show you everything to build something massive. My promise has always been that I'm going to help you find who you are and what you're really made of, to have the courage to rise up, to see something greater for yourself so that you can continue to move and then ask yourself very important questions. What do I want? What do I want? And then have the capacity to actually go after it and achieve it. And I'm not asking you to listen to me. I'm asking you to watch me. I'm just getting started. It's not about hearing the same things over and over. What I'm saying is these small deposits compound. And even though it may seem redundant, and it only seems redundant to those that are not doing it. Do you ever think about that? Right? If we ever come to, I know what he's going to say. Well, it's because you're not doing it. And it's triggering you. Because when you're doing, it sounds different every time. Because you understand the madness that one has to almost be in to go through this monotonous process of day in and day out, not to succumb to the temptations, not to succumb to the mediocrity. It's madness to do the same things over and over, knowing that something greater is on the horizon. But those that are not doing it just want to take a step back. It's like, oh yeah, I know. I'm going to go over here because this other guy, this other company, they're doing bigger things. BS. There's not a lot of people doing what I'm doing. I don't care who it is. I'll run circles around them. They may have me in a couple segments. Money? Okay, cool. Marriage? All right. Awesome. Father? Beautiful. Now let's put them all together. And that's where I want to go. And the reality is I haven't even arrived. I'm not even anywhere near. I already see my future of where I'll be. But it's breathing light into our journey and watching what we say. As opposed to getting phone calls, oh, my life is in shambles. Inviting people to just dump their energy on you, their negative energy. And you're this savior, so you better listen because they're your family. How do you think you're going to walk out of that conversation? You're not going to walk any taller, any brighter. You're not going to come out trying to dominate the day. You're going to come out as beaten as they are because you've allowed it for so long. You're their crutch. But you want to be there for them. He said, you don't understand. You're their crutch. And they're bringing you down. You're their punching bag. But you will never see that because you don't have enough people breathing light into your world. I could only imagine if those 2 phone calls were about how their life was in shambles. Because they refuse to do anything about it. Do I have those conversations? Yeah, where it gets hard conversations, but I know they're doing something about it because it's a different type of challenge. It's a challenge because they're rising, not a challenge because they're succumbing. So it doesn't beat me down. As a matter of fact, it raises me up, and it does the same thing for them. Because they're doing something about it. They're not a victim of. They're just facing the challenges of growth, growing pains. And there's challenges in our marriages, there's challenges in our business, and it's a different conversation. They're not calling because they're victims. I'm having conversations with them because they had the courage to take the steps necessary to take a stand for themselves. And I've had deep conversations with both of these men. And I never felt weakened by any of those conversations. Because I see them doing the work day in and day out. So my job is just to breathe life into their journey, just like they do me. A simple thank you. And I felt it in my soul. I felt this individual's emotion. And he says, that is all, AZ. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. I knew exactly. He didn't have to say anything more. Not one word more. And a lot of those conversations before were of the challenges, but it never beat me down because it was doing something about it. So you have to identify that in the conversations you're having. You're being a savior. I was never a savior in any of that. These two men, I've had heart-to-hearts with them. Never was I the savior. So you have to look at who's breathing light into your journey and what words, because if you get all this negativity, guess what you're going to say? You're going to take on their burdens. You're going to feel less power. Their marital problems, you're going to bring them back to your home. Their financial issues, you're going to bring it back to your mind. Because they decided not to do the right things. And there you are, consoling them. There you are, saving them. When they don't have the ears to hear you, they just want to be saved. They want a crutch. So we have to start thinking about what words we say. And I've been hearing this a lot. AZ, it's so hard right now in the industry. AZ, it's so hard with this do the work challenge. So I want you to do something with me because I'm going to do it all day long. Because as I'm working out in the morning, I love, there's Jermaine, he comes out and works out with us. And I love having him nearby. I love having him nearby because he just whispers money. He whispers like, you got this, power, strength. He like whispers as I'm doing the reps. And it gets me through that exercise. I want it more. It's those breathing of light, just the simple whispers. And it gets me motivated. So we're on the treadmill running our asses off. I'm hoping I can breathe those whispers into the guys around me, and I'm yelling it. Power, money, strength. We got this. And everybody's rising up. Because it's the words we say. So today, as you're facing these challenges with your business, as you're facing these challenges with your marriage, or maybe you're part of this do the work challenge where you're going out there and working out twice a day, and then you may be thinking it's so hard. I want you to change that today and say it's going to be so worth it. Because you're basing your future on this faith. And you're realizing it's an investment. And it's supposed to say, I'm tired. I'm so tired. My body aches. I want you to flip it. I want you to look yourself in the mirror. And don't look beat up. Have this brow of like commitment, of conviction. And say, I'm committed. I'm not tired. I'm committed. Because it starts breaking these cycles, these dysfunctional cycles that we've been through most of our lives. Of giving up when it gets tough. Because it's so hard. Because we're constantly playing that in our minds. It's so hard. It's so hard. I'm so tired. No, it'll be worth it. I'm committed. Breathing this positivity. It's too expensive. It's too much money. I'll figure it out. Let me just imagine myself driving it. Let me just imagine myself living in it. Let me just imagine myself using it. I'll figure it out. And some people get stopped with that little simple, they say it so much and so often that everything is out of their reach. And I saw that very prevalent with this Do the Work Challenge. It's a $300 program that could completely change the dynamic of their entire lives, but it's too expensive because they've been saying it's too expensive for everything. So they just get used to it. That's like their default. It's too hard, it's too tired, it's too expensive. So they can't even look past that. But we say, I'll figure it out. Because I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. I'm going further and further down this slope that it's a lot of darkness down here. And I'm waking up most days just aching and regretting the day. I'm hurting. I'm too anxious. I'm too depressed. I hate this feeling. But it's these words we say. It's too expensive. I'm too tired. It's too hard. Of course. It's your default now. You've beaten yourself up. And then people around you, I'm so tired. It's too expensive. So all they do is reinforce this negative thought process. Let's go eat. Let's go make ourselves feel better by indulging in easy. And a matter of fact, let's overindulge and make ourselves feel so good and pretend everything's okay. And then they'll keep going. And then they'll say words like, I'm sacrificing too much. I'm sacrificing. I didn't go to my friend's birthday party. I didn't go to this, because I've been on this program, AZ. I didn't even have my Mother's Day lunch. What? Which is it? What do you truly want? Because every day you're complaining the way you look, the way you feel, how you don't have enough money, and you're unwilling to sacrifice a lunch, a trip, a party, a weekend, then you probably don't know what it takes to succeed. I'm sorry to say that. Because you're prioritizing the wrong things. How many birthdays can you celebrate? You're 42 years old, dude. Like, come on. They'll be all right. They don't need you there drinking your ass off to a drunken stupor. They'll be all right and you'll be all right. You don't need to overindulge in all that food, overeat. They'll be all right and you'll be all right. But it's Mother's Day. But it's his birthday. It's Christmas. I planned this trip for so long. What? Then you really don't want it. You'd rather be stuck in, it's so hard. I'm too tired. It's too expensive. I'm sacrificing too much. It's an investment. And listen, I gave up many family functions. I gave up many lunches and many dinners and many parties and many weekends. As everyone else is having a good time, a good old time, let's fast forward this 5-10 years. I can't take this smile off my face. Because what I misinterpreted for many years as a sacrifice, and I would pound my chest, I'm sacrificing. No. I was investing the entire time. Investing. And I feel like that gentleman that called me this morning. That emotion, because it feels so good to feel so good. Because the payoff is many years later. Many years later. But most are unwilling to give up their weekends. Most are unwilling to give their 15 birthday parties they have to attend to. They'll be okay, I'm telling you, and you'll be okay. You can hear about it when they roll out of bed at 1 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. Tell them to tell you the whole thing as they're complaining about their hangover. But you did what was required. As a matter of fact, what you did is you woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you invested in making the small deposits in yourself like we describe here in the 12-week target book. You feel good. You've made your necessary investments. You didn't drink yourself to a drunken stupor and then eat like shit. And then complain that you don't have the things that you want in life. As a matter of fact, you have this steadfast resolve that it's only a matter of time. And the feeling goes beyond just a smile on your face. There's a deep-seated, deep-rooted, like an emotion through your body. An emotion through your body. It's hard to describe because I didn't understand what that meant. An entire emotion, a fulfilled emotion through your entire body. But we got to understand who's breathing light into our journey. And maybe they're breathing too much darkness, too much mediocrity, complacency, temptations. It's time to grow up, right? It's time to make the right decisions. Because if you don't have what you want, maybe you need to change your actions. I did, and I got to tell you guys, like, don't even hear me anymore. I don't care if you hear me, just watch me. And then do. And then I want people to watch you, and then I want you to watch yourself. No one who walks into my life is going to come out in a bad situation on the other side, in a worse situation. And I'm willing to carry that responsibility. Because I built my mind strong, my body strong, to be able to withstand that. And as long as you're willing to do the work, you'll get there as well. And many have. They're living lives that are inspiring to me. And I love it. Because I'm breathing light into them. And then that's the payoff for me. That's the payoff. Watching them rise. Powerful men and women. It fuels the hell out of me. Because they're leaders. And I'm willing to follow. I'm willing to lead and follow. So, pay attention. Catch yourself saying, it's too hard. I'm too tired. It's too expensive. I'm sacrificing. No, you're not. You're investing. And now I could already see your future if you just keep going. Have that faith that the work will work for you. Let's breathe that light into each other, right? But I do want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Like, that made my day this morning. A simple phone call. Thank you. I'm like, that felt good. I felt it through my soul. And maybe you need to make a couple of those phone calls yourself. And maybe it's time for you to look in the mirror and thank yourself for the things that you're doing today. Because I know that person in the future will look back and just praise you through the roof. I'm so happy the AZ of 6 years ago, of 7 years ago, decided to take the steps that he did. I am reaping the benefits. All those sacrifices, quote unquote, were an investment. It was a Bitcoin investment, right? It was that type of caliber of return. Thousands and thousands of percentage returns. I am Bitcoin. It feels good. And we have that possibility. We're all looking for the fast, right? We want the fast track. Let's go after Dogecoin. Let's go after this or that, the payoff. But the investment in yourself will always out-deliver anything you could buy outside of you. I promise you. I promise. All right, let's go with some comments and let's wrap this up. What are you guys hearing in this conversation? All right, let's make that investment into yourself. Let's breathe light into each other and into yourself. Let's watch what we say. The small deposits compound to your future success. Love it. Thank you for that, Dominique, and thank you everyone for joining me. Carmela, good morning to you. Sean, Jason, you were never the savior for me, but wow, did you light the match that started the fire for me? And that's the beauty of it, right, Jason? And guess what? Your fire, like it's like a forest fire, right? It's just anything in its sight, it will just devour it and fuel someone else. And you've done that, and I've seen it. I've personally seen it. The influence you have over others. And it's because you decided to rise. Because somebody breathed light into you, you're now breathing light into someone else. And it's what makes life so fulfilling. Knowing that you have an influence, knowing that you have a stewardship of continuing to rise, right? And it comes to a point where you just don't have to say much. You just have to do. And people that do get it. And they'll get away from this too hard, it's too tired, that default that we're conditioned to believe, when truly we are the masters of our own destiny, right? The captains of our souls, right? It's too expensive to never take the leap. Appreciate you, AZ, and everyone here. Love it. Let's go with Edgar. It's not a sacrifice. It's an investment. Absolutely love this. And it rang so deep for me as well when I heard it. Edgar is just... It's so easy to say, I'm sacrificing this weekend. I'm sacrificing this nasty food. No, it's an investment. Like, even after 7 days, we just started the Bravo group and do the work. And it's just, oh man, it's sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes it's just overwhelming of just seeing others wake up. And it feels good. And again, it's our responsibility, because I think we don't realize how much of an influence we can be. And all of you here, if you spent any time with us, I think you all know that you all have that great responsibility. And this is, again, a counsel for us to just reignite that fuel, because when we go out there, a piece of us does go with us, right? When we talk to somebody, when we're trying to see, when we're trying to allow others to see what we're seeing, it's a piece of our energy. It is, even though we're helping the other people, right? It's not draining us, but it does wear on us. It does. There's just like a little gnat somewhere in here. And this is the counsel where we come back and we're able to talk about it, and we're able to say, okay, I got what I need. Now I got to go fight the wars outside the kingdom. I got to go fight these temptations and hopefully allow others to see the same things we're seeing through my actions. So I'm glad you're in, Edgar. I'm going to say that this was one of the top producers in the country before I took AZ's coaching. And then after taking his coaching, I jumped into the top 200 in the country. Why? Because no matter what your success is, take your ego and excuses and trash them and lean in. If you lean in and just do it for greatness, will follow. And that's what we're looking for, right? Greatness. And I see this a lot. Like, understand that the economy, hard work and a good economy will get you the results financially that you want. But it's can you sustain that over years? And this is a building, and I'm always, encouraging people to work on the foundation of it all, because it's not always going to be this way. It's not. The economy, the inflation that's happening, the correction will come. And if you don't have a solid foundation, then you'll realize what you were doing the entire time was just a hustle, where you were in the beck and call and just working hard. That's not going to get you the long-term results. It's building the foundation of mindset, building the foundation of skill set on the back of a good, healthy body to withstand the challenges that are going to come. There's going to be some big ones. And all those that are buying all these, materialistic things right now, it's like, that's great. It's just hard work combined with a good economy. Awesome. Let's wait a few years. And really, success comes on the back of 5, 10 years. Not just a couple years of a good economy. A few years of a good economy. Because when things are good, they're good through hard work. But what's going to happen when things are not so good? Do you have the capacity to continue to move forward? And that's what we're doing right now. And I'm asking you, build your body strong, build your mind strong, continue to lean in. I'd rather have this hard than the alternative. Absolutely. And I think we figured that out, right, Rio? When we're able to reflect on our behaviors. It's like, oh, damn, I was misguided. I've done that so many times, and I do this to this day. I was like, oh, I misinterpreted that. I didn't see it. Even as little as, 45 days ago. I knew something was off, but I didn't realize that I was way off, picking up some bad habits. But I just didn't stay there. I made some changes. Change is uncomfortable. However, sitting stagnant is a definite way to digress and go insane. I have been fortunate to be around everyone here to remind me of that. I too am great. I am powerful. I am a leader. I am an example in my own life to those that depend on me. That's beautiful. And you see all that light that you're pouring into yourself, which allows you to pour into someone else. And just like Jermaine is breathing into money, power, strength, go, you're doing a good job. It's like this, I love that. I love having them around for that same reason. There's an industry that can be very discouraging at times. These calls, meetings, and the people we have to network with outside of Asian Associates, like Jason and Michael, et cetera, help to shake off and be like, F it, I can do it. And that's it, right? Because what you were reminded of is like, hey, just go back out it. Go back out there. Sharpen that sword again, right? Sharpen that axe again and go out there and start chopping. That's all it is. Not like, oh, let me go ahead and take care of it for you. Let me figure it out for you. No. It's all you. Effort can be powerful sometimes. Absolutely. All right, guys. I want to thank you again. And please share the podcast, Badass Agents Podcast. Continue to be stewards of just hard work, stewards of what it takes to be a powerful being in this life, right, in all things. And thank you. And I want to just say thank you. And I hope that you can, interpret that many, many layers than what I'm saying by simply telling you thank you. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by Asian Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.